Hmm? Okay, so I'm just gonna type it over myself. Is the ordered pair true? Well, let's see if these things are solutions to this equation. Okay. 2x minus 3y equals 9. Which, if any, are solutions to this equation? We have 0, -3. And the test will be like this. They will give you some, I think I have some questions like this. They'll give you some points to see if they're on the line, if you were to graph it. Now that's a mess, hold on. Okay, so are these, any of these 3 points going to be a solution to this equation, 2x minus 3y equals 9? How can we figure that out? Need for you all to speak to me. How can we check to see if these points work in this equation?
I'm trying to see the equation on my board, but it just like disappeared.
Say again?
I'm trying to see what you wrote on the whiteboard, and then it just like disappeared.
Can you see it? It should be. I have it on the top left. Is the ordered pair a solution to 2x minus 3y equals 9?
I see
points-
like dots.
You
That's
see
what
it?
I just see like 3 little dots and then 3 little dots. I don't know how to see it bigger. I'm using a magnifying glass, but
That's better? I can make it, let me see. Make it bigger. That better?
I don't know. Can anybody else see it? I just see 3 dots on my screen. That's all I see.
I can see it.
Dots also.
I only see the dots.
What about here? I'm just moving it like across the screen.
Yeah,
See
I still
where you
see the
can-
3 little dots.
you put dots. Let me see. I'm gonna fix it. I can make it a different color. It's already bold it. How many people are only seeing 3 dots? Like, raise-
I still see the 3 dots.
I just see them too, the 3 dots.
3 dots. Um, What about now? I just moved it across to see if maybe your screen is configured.
I still see the dot.
Still dots? So most of you are just seeing dots and some of you are seeing the. You can go ahead and collaborate on the board. You can go and move the board if you need to. So anyone can write on this. I don't know how to fix that, so. Wait, maybe if I write this. Can you see my scribbles?
Those I can see.
You can see that?
Yes, I can see your scribbles, but on top of your scribbles, I just see the 3 little lines and then the 3 little dots and then the 3 little dots.
Okay, so this is the equation, 2x minus 3y equals 9. And we need to see if any of these are, hold on, are a solution to the equation. So 0, 3, sorry, 0, -3 is one choice. -6, 1 is another one. And 1, -7/3. So how can we tell if these are solutions to this equation? What do we need to do to see if these numbers work in this equation?
You have to do that XY thingy.
That XY thingy, the XY table. And this
Yeah.
time I'm not guessing numbers. I want to check these. I don't want to be here all day. So I want to just check the numbers that they're giving me. So if X, these are my X's and these are my Y's. So if X is 0, and we work it out, we have 2 times 0 minus 3y equals 9. 2 times 0 is 0 minus 3y equals 9. So I have -3y equals 9. I need to get the y by itself. So I'm going to divide away the -3. I'm going to divide this by -3 and the other side by -3. I'm left with y equals -3 times -3 gives me +9. So y equals -3. So this is a solution, yes. And now we'll do the same thing and check this -6, 1. Okay, this one. So this is -6. And we want to see what that equals when we plug it in. So 2 times -6 minus 3y equals 9. 2 times -6 is -12 minus 3y equals 9. I will put the numbers on the right side. So I'll move the 12 over to the other side. Gives me +12 and +12. So I have -3y equals 21. I want to have the y by itself. So I'm going to divide away the -3. So I have y equals -3 times -7 will give me +21. So my point is -6, -7, and not this. I'll do the same thing, my table of values for 1 to see if I end up with -7/3. I plug in x is 1, and I have 2 times x, which I said was 1, minus 3y equals 9. So I plug in, I have 2 times 1 minus 3y is 9. I'll take the 2 to the other side. -2, -2. I'm left with minus 3y equals 7. I want to have the y by itself, so I'm going to divide away -3. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. End up with y equals the minus side. Instead of leaving the minus on the bottom, I just put it like in the middle, so it shows that it belongs to both of the numbers, like my whole quantity is negative. And that works. When I have x is 1, I ended up with -7/3 for y. So these 2 points work in this equation. So these 2 points will be on that line if I were to graph it. That makes sense? You guys have some
Yeah.
questions, yeah? Okay. Okay, so you can see when I write it in my great handwriting instead of typing. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Just another one like that. Okay, so the equation is minus 5x minus 2y. Minus 2y equals 6. And we want to check for these points, 0, 3. -6/5, 0. And -2, 2. Okay, so how do we check to see if these points are on this line? Will happen if this x, when I plug it in here, gives me this y. So I'll do my xy thing, table of values. And instead of me picking numbers to see, I want to just pick these 3 numbers here. I can also pick y. I don't always have to pick x first. So this one will just pick the y. We'll substitute for y and see that it doesn't matter. It's just your preference. So in this one, when y is 3, we'll see what we get for x. So x will stay the same. Minus 2 times 3. So I have minus 5x minus 6 equals 6. I move the number to the other side with the other numbers. I'm left with minus 5x equals 0. So x equals 0. Okay. And this happens to be an intercept, right? This means that if I graph the line would go through, I don't know about the slope or anything like that, but it would make sure to go through this point, 0, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because my y-intercept happens when x is 0. This is my y line. And my x-intercept happens when y is 0. Okay, so the next point is negative 6/5, 0. I'm gonna plug in y for 0. It works. I have trust issues, you're not gonna do it myself, but okay, it works. Let's see how it works. I'm gonna plug in y, and that means my x stays the same. Minus 2 times 0 equals 6. Minus 5x minus 0 equals 6. Minus 5x equals 6. I want to get my x by itself. I divide away the negative 5. Left with x equals negative, because I have one negative to split between both sides. 6/5 for x. Okay, so that one works. This one works. Okay, let's see if the third point works. I'm gonna plug in, this time we plug in negative 2 for x. I have minus 5 times minus 2 minus 2y equals 6. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. And move my numbers over here to the right. Negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4. I want to divide this side by negative 2 to get rid of this. And I'll do the same to the other side. Y equals positive 2, which means this also works. Okay. So when it asks you if certain points are solutions to the line or will lie on the line, sometimes it will say that, you have to take those points, do your XY table, and make sure they work for both the X and the Y. Let me see how many questions I have. Yes. Okay. Did write it down. I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 of these. There, find the intercept. There's 3 questions on find the intercept, which means you take the line and you plug in x is 0, whatever you get. And then you plug in y is 0 and whatever you get. There's 3 questions like that. Find the intercept. Questions. Please ask me questions. Just pretend. Ask me what my dog's name is, whatever. Just ask me something so I know that you're listening. No?
How old is dog?
How old's my dog? I don't know. I don't know how old my dog is. That's a really good question. He had the same birthday as my daughter, which is coincidence. I don't know. Maybe he's 4, 5. He's small and annoying, but I still like him. Okay, why wouldn't it be -12 because they're both positive? Where do you see that? Where was that? Wouldn't it equals 12 because they're both positive? I don't even see where that is anymore. Over here? Someone said, wouldn't it be equal 12 because they're both +6?
On
Over
the
here?
first problem we did.
On the first one. Yes, it would. You guys, why don't you talk to me? And tell me, because yeah, I was like, yeah, all 3 worked. I thought that was weird. Okay, yes, it would. So it'd be -5x equals 12. So this is not the answer. Not for that. And then I don't have. Okay, x equals 12 over -. Okay, so this one doesn't work. That was this one. Yeah. Good looking out. What is that? I'm gonna give you 2 points on your test, and that's gonna make everyone else talk to me and try to correct my mistakes. 2 points is a lot. Okay. Okay, let's see. So we're good so far. Okay, let me see. And then I have 2 questions that are find the slope. Because, okay, so I'm gonna write these equations and we find the slope. Okay, find the slope. This is one equation. What is that? X equals 1/3 y plus 1. What is the slope? Okay. Now let's see if we can put it into some format that we can see the slope easier. Because we don't have 2 points. If we had 2 points, we'd be able to do the y2 minus y1 thing over x2 minus x1, but we don't have that. We just have it in this format. What format is this? Does it have a name? No name because
I think I'm wrong. But
Say
is
again?
it standard?
It's not standard. Standard is the x and the y. X plus 3y equals 6. Standard is when you have x, y equal, and then the number. I'm not going to try to write standard. This is why you guys don't try to write on the board, because it would look like this. So the other format that we tend to use is y equals mx plus b, which is called slope-intercept form, because you can look and see my slope, which is the number attached to the x, and the y-intercept, which is just this b, which would be a number. So if we switch this around to have a y, I'm going to move the 1 to the other side. Okay, so that's going to give me x, 1/3 y, and I'll do -1. So I have x -1 equals 1/3 y. And then I'll just swap those so it looks a little bit normal, or a little bit more normal. 1/3y, 1/3 y equals x -1. And I want to get rid of this 3 on the bottom. So I'm going to multiply the whole equation by a 3/1 to get rid of that fraction. So I'll do 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. And my y stays there. Equals 3 times x and 3 times -1. So now 3 will go into 3 one time. I have y equals 3x minus 3. And if this is now my slope-intercept format, so what 2 things can I tell from this format? The slope-intercept format. They're really not creative when it comes up to naming these things.
Slope is 3.
Say again?
That the slope is 3.
The slope is 3 because m is my slope. So my slope is 3. And if I were to graph this, my y-intercept, the point where my line crosses over the y-axis, would be at what point?
1,
Here. Let's see.
0.
One more, give me one more try. It's gonna happen at, this B is my y-intercept. This B stands for just a number. Because there's no B in the formula, it's just a number. So this happens when my y-intercept happens when x is 0, and it's gonna happen at -3. So I know from this, from doing like not much work, that my graph is gonna look like it's positive. It's gonna be sloping up, right? Because my slope is positive. And my intercept, my y-intercept, the place where the line meets the y-axis, it's gonna happen at 0, -3. It's gonna happen right there. And that's what I get. That's why this formula is helpful. You can see the slope right away, and you can see what you already have one of your intercepts right there. With me? Okay. Another one. So this equation is y equals -3/2 x -4. I need you to tell me the slope and the y-intercept. You want me to just call people's names? You guys gonna make me do that? Okay, I'll just do on my. Attendance. Haley, what's my slope? Oh man, hold on. Haley, if you're there, what's the slope?
Your slope is -3/2, so
Negative
3.
3/2. Okay, because my format, good job. This is already nicely into slope-intercept form for you. Even though this says minus and this says plus, it just tells you it's adding whatever that number is. Okay, you can have it positive or negative. So my slope is the number in front of my x when it's in this form. So my slope is -3/2. I'm gonna pick somebody. I'm not picking on you. I'm just going up and down. I'm just calling who's Shayla. What does my line look like? Am I driving uphill or downhill?
Downhill.
Downhill, good job. Okay, because my line is negative, my slope is negative, I'm driving down the hill. Autumn, what's my y-intercept? Autumn's not there?
-3.
-3, how'd you get -3? From my y-intercept, the place where,
Because that's the rise.
okay, that's the rise when, in general, like I could be anywhere on the graph and it's always gonna be the next, it's gonna be -3 from one dot to the next dot. But where's the place that the line hits this axis, the y-axis? I know that when x is 0. Because when I'm right here on x is 0, that means I didn't move any place left or any place right. All the action is going to happen someplace on this line. Where on this line will that happen? Look at this formula here.
Can
That's
you
my
explain
slope.
that again? I'm confused.
Okay. This is my line. I didn't draw my line yet, right? I know it's going to be somewhere looking down, downhill somewhere. This right here is what's called my y-intercept. It is the place where my line intercepts this y-axis. It's the place where it crosses it. It's going to go across there, but we don't know where. And this point happens when x is 0. So when x is 0, I plug in x0 into my equation. I have y equals -3/2 times 0, which is 0. And I have -4 because that's what was given to me. So what's 0 minus 4? -4.
-4.
And that's what y equals when my x is 0. So 0, -4 is a point. And when I put it on this graph, 0, I don't go any place left or right. And I go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my y-intercept. That's why we like this formula, because I can see what my slope is. I know it's gonna be negative. And then I know my intercept, I know the line will cross this axis at this point. And let's figure out, since we're here, we have nothing else to do. Let's figure out what the x-intercept would be, which would be, let me change the color, which is where does this line hit the x-axis? And that happens, sorry, when y equals 0. So for your x-intercept, you make y 0, and for your y-intercept, you make x equals 0. So for the x-intercept, I'm gonna plug in y equals 0 and see what I get. It's gonna be 0 equals -3 over 2x minus 4. So I'm gonna take this -4 to this side. We're doing +4. So 4 equals -3 over 2x. If you want to get rid of this 2 and you don't want to bother dividing by fractions, you can multiply the whole equation by 2. So I'll multiply this whole thing by 2, which doesn't change the value of my answer any. So 2 times 4 is 8 equals, this cancels out these 2's, leaves me with a -3. Because 2 times -3 is -6. 1 times 2 is 2. And 2 will go into -6, -3 times. And my x is still there. Now to get the x by itself, I'll divide away -3. And -8 over 3 equals x. Which means my stuff happens over here. So -8 over 3 is 2 2/3. Just pretend 2 2/3. But my x-intercept happens when I don't move on the y, which is y equals 0. And my y-intercept happens when I don't move on my x, which gives me -4. Okay. Questions? No questions? No questions.
No questions.
No questions. All right. You can also just send me a little direct message so that not everyone knows your business, and I will do the question for you in the class. I really want everyone to do well on the first test. If you don't know what I'm doing, it's now the time to say, you know, something. Right, let's see. So let's graph. I have like 6 ones to graph. Because even though how can I just share my screen? If I share my screen, can you see that? Hold on. And I type this and it's just. You guys know my handwriting is garbage, so. Let me try this. Okay, well, if you know what number it is on the test, because it's gonna change for everyone, that's the thing. It's gonna change every time someone does a test, so you'll never have the same number 8, but if you wrote it down, hopefully you did, then tell me what it is and we can do that, yes.
So what do we do? Like,
Say that again?
sorry, what do we do whenever, like for some of the graphs, I was doing the XY tables, but it wasn't getting, like on WebAssign, none of the answers were right. But I was doing it right. Like, I know I was doing it right.
Know this. WebAssign may tell you to solve, and they may give you specific points that they want you to use. Did you use those points or did you pick your own points?
No, I used their points.
Use their points?
Yeah, so you know how we were doing it now and we're like, well, we don't want to waste that time doing like all those if they give us the points already. That's what I was doing.
You were doing their points. And then they asked you to connect it?
Yeah, and I would connect it and it would have the arrows on both sides. It wouldn't work. So I would try the other lines that it would let us graph with.
Mhm.
And it wouldn't work. But I was like, how is it not working? It's literally like, I don't know, like the line was straight. So it has to be right.
Okay. Oh, you weren't the one that texted me, right?
No.
Okay, because someone texted me and they had that same problem. Let me see what we did, because they were trying forever. And let me see. No. He said the same thing. He said, I know I did it right. Okay, what did I tell him? He said, I'm trying to do the practice test, but it says I'm graphing these wrong, and I know I'm right. And he was right, or she was right. Someone was right. And I said, I got the same thing. Did you put the arrows? He said, sure did. And I said, I don't see them on your picture. And he said, okay, I tried the arrows first. That's why I tried the next line. Okay, extend the arrows. Okay, now extend the arrows. Did you extend the arrows past the point? Because that's what we did. Like the point is like here, and did you make your line go like this and then the arrows away from the point? You have to try that. WebAssign is super picky. Super picky. So you can try that, or you can just take a picture of it while you're taking the test and then text it to me after, and then I'll go back in and give you the credit if I know you did it right, you know?
I did that as well. I did the arrows and it still worked me wrong.
Did you
passed.
extend it? Did you extend the arrows a little past the dot?
Yeah, they're past the dot, like clearly.
Okay. Well, if you go and take the test
Yeah, mine
again,
was past the dot.
what do I mean past the dot? Okay, hold
It
on.
was.
It was past the dot. Okay. I don't know, but when you're taking it, if you take a picture of it and then text it to me after, I'll go back and I'll give you the points. You know, because it's something that like a real person can do instead of the computer that he doesn't know, you know, exactly your struggle. Okay, so let's, you guys can see this, right?
I also had a question.
Yes.
So on one of them it says find the slope. I got like -12 over 0, and I just thought, oh, it's 0. And I typed that in and said it's wrong.
Right, a slope. Remember we did the one in class where it was, if you're sharing by like when you have -12 divided by 0, that means you're sharing with nobody. So you're not even really sharing. That means your line looks like this on the graph. It's too steep to even be, usable or good to anybody. So they call it an undefined slope. It's undefined. When you get 0 on the bottom, it's undefined. The slope is undefined. When your 0 is on top, you just have a line that looks like this. It's just no curve at all, which is different to when your 0 is on the bottom, your line is so, it's like a hill that's like the side of a building. You can't drive up it at all. So that one you have to put undefined slope. But if you, like I said, I gave you 2 tries and no one took both of their tries on the test. So if you're not happy with your grade, you can go back and take it again. And then while you're doing it, if you have problems, take a picture of it and then text it to me, because not everyone will have the same question. Even it's randomizing it.
So if we do the test, like let's say we did it now, and it's how many questions? Like 50,
I think
I
it's
think,
like 15, yeah.
100?
Either 14 or 15, something like that. It's 20, it's worth
Oh.
21.
Okay, so if I do that now, and let's say I don't get a good grade, if I take the other test before 6:40, could I still use my 2 chances?
Yes.
Like, will that work as the 2 chances?
Yes, it only lets you take over the ones you got wrong. So you don't have to do all 15 all over again. It'll just let you take off the ones you got wrong.
Nice.
And then make sure to, I prefer that you take pictures of them just in case. If you take pictures and it says it was right, then fine. But the one that it's wrong, send it to me, because at least I can give you half credit or, 3/4 of a point, which is better than chucking away your whole 7 points. Okay, you want to graph these? So we can write these down. Let me see. Let me write these on the whiteboard. Yeah, that's one. Okay. Okay. So let's graph this one. 3x minus 2y equals 4. What format is this in? Either standard form or slope-intercept. Who, me, I'll guess. I'm gonna guess. Standard form. Good job, Marty. Standard form. Standard form has x, y.
Good job, miss.
Okay, good. Standard form has x's, y's, equal sign, and then the number. So we can leave it just like this and we can do our table of values and see what x is and then y is. And because these are like test questions, we'll just get 2 points instead of 3. When x is 0, that's a special point. What's this special point called when x is 0? Okay.
The slope-intercept.
Half of that is right. Slope-intercept is the whole equation. It's this is the y equals mx plus b. When I write the equation like this is slope-intercept form because I can see my slope and see the b. Yes, Olivia, I'm going to give you another point. Olivia, because it's called the y-intercept. Okay, so when my x is 0, that gives me the y-intercept. When my y is 0, what's the name of that special point?
X-intercept.
X-intercept. Good job. Philip. I'm gonna start giving out points. I'm like, that's not make you talk. So I'm a little slow, but I figured it out. Okay, so let's see. When x is 0, I have 3 times 0 minus 2y equals 4. So 0, 3 times 0 is 0 minus 2y equals 4. Leaves me with negative 2y equals 4. Divide by minus 2. I get y equals negative 2. So that's 1 point. 0, negative 2. And then when my y is 0, I have 3x minus 2 times 0 equals 4. 3x plus 0 equals 4. 3x equals 4. I will divide both sides by 3 to get the x by itself. X equals 4/3. It's kind of gross. So 1 1/3. So you would just need just these 2 points carefully done, because you may not have time to do a 3rd point. So you just, it's easiest to do your intercepts first. Don't go picking, oh, my birthday is January 17th. When you pick x is 17, nobody has time for that. Pick x is 0, find out what y is, pick y is 0, find out what x is, and move along. Okay, hold on. Okay, someone has a request for a question, yes. Okay, the point is 1, 2, and the slope is -7. They wanted you to write the equation for that. Was that what it was? Write the equation for the line that has slope equals -7 going through the point 1, 2. Yes, I'm gonna say yes to that. Stephanie, is that what your number 8 was? It's right here.
I'm trying to look for it now. It said, graph the line that passes through the given plane and has a given slope.
Okay, graph the line. All right, so let's do that. See, we have a sneak peek on what's the test and the wording. Okay. Okay, graph the line that has, oh, I'm so sorry. It goes through 1, 2 and has a slope of -7. So, but before I graph it, if my slope is -7, what kind of line, what does my line look like? Am I driving uphill or downhill?
Downhill.
Downhill. And then my point is 1, 2. My slope, I try to write my slope always in a fraction so I don't forget what I'm doing. So my point that's on this line, because they gave it to me, is 1, 2. So my x is 1 and y is 2. I start at the origin and go over 1 and up 2. Oh my gosh. Okay, so and my slope is -7/1, which means I'm going to move, this is up or down.
That would be up.
Left or right? Am I going to move up or am I going to move down?
Upwards.
I did down. I did down 7, 1 to the right and down 7.
Okay, so now this is where life gets tricky. if I go, as long as my whole quantity is like negative, so I can go down 7 and to the right 1, or I can go up 7 and to the left 1.
So I have a question. So like on mine, that's how I marked it. I went 1 to the right and then 2 to the 2 up. And then for my slope of -7, I went 1 to the right and then down 7, but it still said I got it wrong.
Because your first number, one of those things have to be negative. If you're gonna go up, consider that being positive. Then if you go up, you have to do the next thing left.
Oh, so then
Because-
it would have been
Right.
-1 and then up 2.
Okay, because you wanna, that's why you have to think about what the line looks like. If I'm here and I go up 7, I don't wanna go this way. I wanna go this way because I wanna end up with my line going negative. Sorry, hold on.
Okay.
I want to end up over here-ish because I want my line to go down. But if I go down 7, then I want to go to the right 1 because I want that when I connect my lines, it's still like really down. Okay,
Thank
you
you. That
can-
makes sense now.
yeah. No problem. Okay, pretend like I hit all the dots. Okay, pretend. Okay. Okay, let's graph another one. Okay. Let's graph. Why do I keep doing that? Y equals -2x plus 2. Okay, so if I want to graph this, it's already in a nice kind of format. So I can look and I can see what format it's in. What's the name of the format that it's in? There's,
mx plus b.
yes, slope-intercept, right? That's Angel. Give you a point for that. Okay, so it's in this format already. So I can see, and all I need to graph, because we just did this, all I need to graph is a point and the slope. Or I can have 2 points. But since it's already set up for us in slope-intercept form, I see that my slope is -2, which means my line is going to be, am I driving uphill or downhill?
Down.
Down. I'm driving downhill. And my intercept, my y-intercept, the place where my line crosses the y-axis is going to be
2.
+2. So my point, it's like a free point, because I know that happens when x is 0. So when x is 0, my y-intercept is 2. So now I can plot my point. Take my time. My point, I'm going to start at 0, sorry. I'm going to start at 0, 2. That's my y-intercept. It's the place where the line, however it's looking, is going to cross this y-axis. And my slope tells me to move down 2 and to the right 1, or up 2 and to the left 1. Whichever I'm doing, as one of those have to be negative. Okay, so I can go down 2 and to the right 1. Or from this point, I can go up 2. Sorry, and to the left one and still be on the line. And I put my arrows to show that it goes forever in both directions. Okay. Okay. Question so far?
No questions.
Okay. Okay, let's do another one. Y equals,
So I have a question, but it's not
Yes.
about these problems. My question is remember you had said that if we had taken a test and let's say we had gotten some wrong, if we did some of our homework, we get credit for that, so it makes our grade go higher, right?
yes, if you don't do the homework and you take the practice test and you have 80 or above on the practice test, I'll give you that, and then I'll pretend like you did all the homework. Like if you take the test, the real test, and you get 80 or above on the test, I go back and I make your practice test 100 points, like the whole thing, like an A on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I put in some grades today, but those won't stay there because I imagine you go back and do those again. So if you took the test already and you already got better than 80, then I went back and I made your practice test 100%. Okay.
Okay. I was kind of a little worried about that because I wasn't able to do the practice test at all. I
Yeah,
did
no
some of
worry.
it, but
You don't have to do the practice test. I mean, it's a lot of questions, but it's a practice because I know some people aren't doing the homework. So if you do the practice test and you're good, then you'll be really in good shape for the test. So if you don't do the practice test at all and you already get 80 or better on the test, I go back and I give you 100%. I know our time is limited and you guys have lives, you know?
So like now that I went to go and look, like I did do the practice quiz and then I already did my test this morning before class. So my grade on my practice quiz then, and I did homework prior to that. So it won't reflect like 100 until later this afternoon then.
Yes, because I checked before class and I didn't see your test grade.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. After I check, I'll check this afternoon and then I'll update it. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so y equals -1/5 x. So this is like kind of in this format, right? Except for I don't have the just number. I don't have like +2 -14. I don't have that. So since it's in this format, this is my slope, right? But I still need a point to work with. I need like a starting point. I'm gonna pick the cheat points because time is short. So if x is 0, what do I get for y? If x is 0, I have y equals -1/5 times 0. What's -1/5 times 0? Oh, come on, where's it?
Wouldn't it be 0?
It would be 0. So if x is 0 and y is 0, that's also a special point. What's it called? Well,
origin.
origin, good job. See, I give you a point. I'm giving up points today. I just need friends to talk to. I just want to talk to people about math. That's all I want. Okay. So it's the same. That means it goes through this point, right? Because 0, 0 is a point on this graph. That's the same thing as me having this equation and having like a +0. But it just looks weird to just put +0. But that's really what I have. I end up with, when you see it like this, y equals something, something x, your free point is the origin. Because it's gonna go through the origin, and it's not gonna go through any place else on the y. So I start at the origin, because that's a point on the graph. And I'm gonna go m equals -1/5. So from the origin, I'll go 1 down and 5 across. Or from the origin, I can go 1 up and 5 to the left. And then I'll connect these points. And I'm driving downhill because I have a negative slope. And my graph goes through the origin point 0, 0. So that's not bad. It looks a little scary when it starts like that, but it's not that bad. It's actually easier. Oh, let me find the slope. Oh, Lordy. Okay. So that tells us the steepiness or the hilliness of the line. What's the formula to find the slope?
X1 minus y1 over y2 minus y1.
Same thing you said, except switch. You do your y1, sorry, your y2 minus y1 first. So y2 minus y1 over my x2 minus x1. You got no solution, or you got 0, right? So 7 minus 7. 7 minus 7. 7 minus 7 over x2 minus x1 minus 3 minus 4. So minus 3 minus 4 gives me 0 over -7. So that means this is my y business, right? Which means I'm not going to go up and down at all on this line. And I'm just going to go over 7. Which means my slope is 0. I just have this. If I'm here for 7, say that's for 7, and then I'm here at -3, 7. And I connect these dots. What is that? I connect these dots. I just have this, just like a flat line. Which means my slope is present, he's just not any fun. So my slope is 0. Okay. My slope is 0. And let's say we had these points. What would my slope be for these points? Same formula. Right. -3 minus 4. -7. On the bottom, I have 7 minus 7. Equals 0. So if I were to graph it, I would have 7, 4. Just say. And I would have 7 minus 3. And my line would look like this. Oh my gosh, pretend like I hit the line. Yes. So this is not a slope of 0. It's so, like if I tried to drive up this hill, I will just crash the car all the time at this point. I can't do it. It's so steep, it's ridiculous. So it's undefined. Okay, so it's okay for me to have a 0 on the top. Might just have a line that looks like this. But when I have a 0 on the bottom, it looks like this. And it's undefined. Okay, so far? You know what I really want to do? I want to write the equation of the line, because that is the hard one. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna have to type this. Okay. Write the equation of the line that goes through with the slope of -2. Okay, so I want to find, you're going to write the equation of the line. This is all the information you have. They can either give you the slope and a point, or they can give you 2 points and you have to work hard to find the slope. Okay, so the equation of the line formula is kind of weird looking. So it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And what I do, because I'm a little weird, I label my x. This is my x1. And this is my y1. Because I only have 1 point and they gave me the x and the y of it. This I already have here. M equals -2. I can't do it that fast. Hold on. I'm gonna check. Probably you're right. Y minus y1. So minus a -5. And I write it like this, and then I come back and I fix it. Equals my slope, my m times x minus my x1. Because I want to end up with number x and y, some sort of order. So I fix it, and y minus a -5 is y plus 5 equals -2 times x, -2x, -2 times -3. Something bad happened to someone you don't like, it's good. And then I put my -5, so I can move the 5 over. Ooh. Good job, Jose. -2x plus 1. That's the equation of the line that has a slope of -2, and it goes through this point -3 or 3 and -5. Let me give it a point. Questions? I know you should have questions on this because this is ridiculous. I suggest like a semi-permanent tattoo for this, like on the back of your hand. It's going to get you through a good part of the class. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We'll do another one. No questions? Still no questions? Okay. Okay, wait, okay. Let me see. I'll give you the slope equals. Well, I'm not even gonna give you slope. I'll just give you 2 points and you can find the slope and work it out. Say 6. Okay. So those are the points, and you need to write the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points. What do you need? What do you absolutely need to write the equation?
Don't you have to do the y equal mx plus b format?
But you don't have that. That's what you're trying to write for me. If you want to get it into this format, yeah, y equals mx plus b.
Then you
But-
change it into,
To do that, you're gonna need the m part, which is the slope. So you need to find the slope.
so then it would be m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
You have to work for that slope. You're gonna need the slope and you're gonna need 1 point in order to write the equation of the line. So and the equation of the line, the way you get it is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. But you need the information to put in here. So we're over here, we'll get the slope. But we have a point. You just choose which point you want to use. So y2 minus y1, 5 minus 2. And then x2 minus x1. -4 minus 6, which is minus 10. So that's my slope. -3 over 10. So now I'll use, which point do you want to use in the formula? 6, 2 or -4, 5? No, I will use 6, 2, because I don't want to take any chance and mess up with the negative. So I tend to use, if I have a choice, I will use the ones with the both positive numbers. So y minus y1 equals my slope, -3/10. Times x minus x1. Okay, so I have y minus 2 equals -3/10x. And then -3/10 times -6. I apologize for this. Over 1. -3 times -6 is +18. Over 10 times 1 is 10. So if you want to get rid of the fraction on the bottom, you multiply the whole entire thing by 10. Every single piece of this formula. So 10 times y gives me 10y. 10 times -2 minus 20. The 10 will cancel with this 10 and leave me with -3x. Ten will cancel with 10 and leave me with 18 plus 18. Okay, plus 20 to move all my numbers, combine all my like terms. I have 10y equals -3x plus 38. And I don't need to put it in this form. I can also put it in the standard form. The x with the y's and the number on one side. So I'm going to move over this -3x to the left side. There's 3x. So it has 3x plus 10y equals 38. Yeah, you did that? I didn't do that, but okay. Yep, Jose, same thing. Same thing, okay. Questions? I am so afraid when you guys don't say anything. Yeah, I think there's two or three of those. Check the reminder app. I sent you guys exactly what's on the test. How many of each question? If you have questions or you went into trouble, you can text me, okay? I'm pretty decent at responding, if I do say so. Okay, I'll wrap it up. If you think you're not gonna have a chance to take, you know what, I'm gonna try to go and make the test available until midnight. Not that I want you up at midnight doing that, but I know everyone has a different schedule, so I'll try to change the test time. Okay. Remember, while you're doing it, take a picture of the questions. That way, if you have questions after, you'll have it there as a reference. Okay, if there's nothing else. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
May I have a question?
Yes, waited all my life for this. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it is about math, but it's also about something else too.
Hey, that's fine.
So I have purchased my book off Vital Source, and I was able to be able to get into WebAssign easily, and it let me have access all the way until like 2 days ago, and now I don't know why.
Because you didn't, the free trial only lasts for 14 days. So it finished on August 26th. So you have to go back in with